Mad Panic Gaming!
Awesome!
What's up, everybody? Jim here, once again in the neighborhood of Akihabara, and I hope you're ready for some epic 8-bit action, because today we're taking a look at 100% Famicom games, shoot-em-ups, platformers, beat-em-ups, all the ones you love, all the classics. They've got them all with beautiful, beautiful works of art on each and every box. So prepare your minds, your bodies, and your souls, because that is what's coming up next. All right. Are you ready for some Famicom? And also some football. We're getting started in Super Potato. They always have a great Famicom collection. And we're looking at boxed games, people. Love the artwork. Starting with Gambare Goemon 2, which I'm very well acquainted with the Super Famicom games. Not the Famicom games so much. But it's a great series, though. You should go check out Jimmy Hoppa. His channel. He has a lot of Goemon stuff on there. That's Goemon Gaiden 2. Excuse me. Yeah, the 8-bit games, I don't really know much about. But the 16-bit games, that's in my wheelhouse. 3608 for some Z Gundam Hot Scramble. If you never played it before, it's okay. It's a little kind of like on-rail shooter game mixed with not a platformer so much, but more of like a side-scrolling shooter platformer hybrid. You got your Gundam, you can turn into the mech, you can turn into the jet thing. That's pretty cool. I'm not super familiar with Z Gundam or Zed Gundam, however you want to pronounce it. The game itself is like okay, and there is a gold cartridge version that's worth like $1,000. We got the original Mario Brothers 5698, and I do love this game. Basically anything Mario, but all the classic stuff is super fun. Donkey Kong, Mario Brothers, Wrecking Crew, etc. It's all good. We got some Mario USA 3498. There's Dr. Mario, always a classic. Wario no Mori for $15.18, so it's like $10 even boxed. AKA Wario's Woods, which I believe was the last official game for the NES, and maybe the last official Famicom game. I'm not 100% sure, but a fun little puzzle game, that is for sure. I think the Famicom version came out in '94, and maybe the North American version came out in like '94, '95. I have no idea. We got some Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Fantasy Zone, Mother, Fire Emblem, and then another one of my all-time faves, Wrecking Crew. 6578. I really like this game. I like the simplicity of it. Fun little kind of like puzzly type game. The Famicom version is great, and you got your own little level editor thing as well, which is pretty cool. I guess back in the day the appeal was you could like make your own little levels and then challenge, I don't know, whoever it was, your friend, a sibling, someone to play through your levels. You're not just playing the game, you're in the game. Alright? And that's revolutionary. A revolution of a kind, of a type and sort. All these Namco games, lots of them, and they all had their own little clamshell cases. So they're very easily recognizable. These, the older Namco games, Sky Kid, and I think maybe like Xevious, other various games, had the regular cardboard box. And Akira for the Famicom. More of a, kind of like a visual novel type thing. Akira, that's a property they never really did justice with video games. There was like this, and then there's like a video pinball Akira game. Is that what, Akira fans really want from their Akira game? I think I always wanted a, kind of like Road Rash, but with characters from Akira. I thought that would have been really cool, but instead we got pinball and we got a visual novel, which I get it, huge anime at the time, and they wanted something that visually represented the anime pretty well, I guess, with a video game. But they forgot to make it fun to play. East 2 for 66 something. So that's like a $50 game. For those that don't know, a few of the East games appeared on the Famicom. We have Ikari Warriors 4928. So that's like $35 for a complete copy. And down in the comments, if you're a buyer in Europe or in North America, let me know what boxed games are going for in your region. I'd like to know. 4708 for Golgo 13. The Icarus something or other. I think they call this the Mafat something in North America. But the Golgo 13 games, again, they did their best, like, kind of emulate the anime style. This one is more or less kind of an action platformer with some sniping thrown in. And some driving segments, as you can see here. So that's pretty cool. I mean, they want to, give you the feeling of being Golgo 13 as best they can. This international man of mystery, so to speak. He sleeps with chicks and he shoots people in the head. But he snipes with like an M16, which I always thought was weird. Because M16 is not really a sniper rifle. I've fired an M16 before and I wouldn't exactly go sniping with it. Tiny Toon Adventures. They never sniped anyone in Tiny Toons, as far as I know. Which is probably for the best. But these games are pretty cool. All these Konami Tiny Toons games. They're fun platformers. And I like them a lot. Good graphics, good sound design, bunch of playable characters from the show. I was a Tiny Toons kid back in the day. A Fox kid, if you will. I was a Toonster. But yeah, I like the Tiny Toons games. I've never played a bad Tiny Toons game. And it's 5,038 yen for a complete copy. So that's like $38 or something. Not too bad. 65.38 for YY2. 54.78 for Parodius Da. Good game. Very good game, in fact. 42.68 for Magical Taruruto-kun. Fantastic World. These are pretty cool. I think there's two of them. They're pretty cool little platformers based on Magical Taruruto-kun, which I think was fairly popular in Japan back in the day. I don't recall ever seeing an English version of it, though. So that was something we missed out on, although I think he made like a little guest appearance as like a little computer icon in Golden Boy. 59.18 on Star Wars. Not a good game, unfortunately. Sweet Home, that's getting pretty expensive. We got Rockman 5, Rockman 4, and Tenchio Kurao 2, but like, it's definitely not Warriors of Fate. It's like an RPG version. 65.78 for Makaimura, aka Ghosts and Goblins. A great game, I guess. It's fun. It's super hard. I've never beaten it myself. I've played it countless times, and I enjoy it while I'm playing it, but I always just get frustrated and quit. It's one of those games, like, when I tried it when I was a kid, I could get to, like, stage 2. As an adult, I can maybe get through, like, the first, kind of like the first wave, the first playthrough. And then, the second one comes along, and I'm like, you know what, I'm good. We've got a bunch more games here, including Ninja Ryu Kenden 3. Another one that's not getting any cheaper. But it's awesome. If you've ever played Ninja Gaiden 3 and you were frustrated by it because you thought it was too difficult, because of the limited continues and whatnot, give Ninja Ryu Kenden 3 a try. It's more forgiving because I think you take less damage than you do in the NES version, and you have infinite continues, so it's actually beatable. I think the only one of those games I haven't actually beaten is Ninja Ryu Kenden 2. I have like the least amount of experience with that, but I beat the first and third games, so it's possible. We've got Bikuri Neketsu Koshinkyoku, something to that effect. Crash and the Boys Street Challenge in North America. Just an all-around fun game. A wacky sports game. You've got all kinds of different events. The hammer throw golf event is very fun. And like foot race and swimming races. And of course, since, it's Kunio-kun, as you're swimming or racing or what have you, you can beat the hell out of each other and attempt to drown each other. So that's fun. All of the Kunio-kun games are always fun. They got a lot of them here. They've got your River City Ransoms, your Renegades, your Nintendo Soccers, all that good stuff. And then we got a whole mess of loose cards that we're not going to look at today. And it's Korone-chan. What are you doing here? Get back to your HoloLive thing. I'm not big on the, what are they called? The VTubers? That's not really my thing. But it's pretty big here in Japan. They even have their own branded snacks and things like that. We got Dragon Ball. We've got Bomberman 2. This is kind of an odd thing. I'm in Sudagaya right here, and some of these, I guess they just didn't have all that much shelf space left, so they just started putting 2 at a time in these little plastic things, except for Famicom Jump 2. Has its own big box. Pretty fun little RPG, but it's especially awesome if you're a fan of old school Jump comic stuff like Dragon Ball, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, etc. You can play as all those various characters in the kind of like Jump world. So it brings all those characters and properties and all that different lore all together. You got Magical Taruru Tokun in there, JoJo, some other characters. So those are pretty cool. There's a couple of them, and interesting games at least. We got some NES games here, including Silent Service and Mickey Mousecapade for $3,100. So it's like $20 for Mickey Mousecapade. I don't know what that stacks up to in the US. I have no frame of reference at all for NES games and what they're being sold for in the States. We got some Dragon Ball Z 3 here. This is the one, it's the Android Saga. It ends with Frieza, and then it goes to the Android Saga. And I think it goes up to Cell, because I know there's another one. Pretty sure there was another one after this. Oh well, I can't recall. But these are okay. They're little RPGs. They use like a card battle system. There's like a bunch of them. I think that was just the best way to make a Dragon Ball game in 8-bit, was to just have like a turn-based RPG, because you weren't gonna get a good fighting game out of that, I don't think so. DBZ is just too complex for that. We got Twinbee 3, and then we got something else that I don't know what the hell it is, and I can't even see all the kanji, and even if I could, my kanji is kind of crap. You know, that's the kind of thing, if you don't really, stick to it, study, you're gonna lose it. More Dragon Ball goodness. This one is Dragon Ball 3 Gokuden for 800 yen box, so it's like $5. I believe these games were being released as like the episodes were airing, so like if you were watching the show and enjoying the episodes, you could be playing right along with the story by playing the games, which is pretty cool, because I know the manga and the anime kind of came out alongside each other, and I guess the games did too. And we've got some track and field here for 800 yen. Which is not for me, because, getting a little older, don't mind telling you. Don't exactly have all of the stamina I used to. I don't exactly get that much exercise. I'm more of a weight training guy these days. Maybe I'll get back to the aerobics when I get a little older. Dragon Ball Z Gaiden and some Magical Taruru Tokun. Another copy of Fantastic World. So we can compare and contrast prices on that. A fighting stick, I guess, for a Super Famicom. The disc system, which is a fun little add-on to play around with. So, it's fun to collect for. We got some Hokuto no Ken 3, which it took a long time for these games to get good. Like, for, I don't know, like the first game all the way up through the 7th game, they were all just terrible. There's so many just like, I mean, these are turn-based RPGs, but they're not particularly good ones. And the graphics, sound design aren't very good either. The best thing about these games is the box art, to be completely honest. And when they got to 16-bit games, they didn't get any better. They still sucked. 3300 Downtown Special, which is awesome. It's Kunio and his pals. They're doing a River City Ransom thing. But it's like feudal Japan. So there you go. It's like you mix your Kunio and your Ghost of Tsushima. And you've got Downtown Special, and there's some Goonies in there too, for 2,800. Who doesn't like some Goonies? Actually saw a whole bunch of archival pictures of Goonies recently. It looks like they had a lot of fun on that set. It's the kind of thing you'd like to be present for. We've got some Famicom disc stuff here. That is not really what we're looking at, but we can take a quick peek. Mr. Gold, whatever that is. I think that's actually another kind of like visual novel type game, and the original Mario Brothers 2. Which I don't find all that enjoyable. It's just too damn hard, and the rent is too damn high. Final Fantasy 1 and 2 collection, which is pretty cool. It's like a really big white cartridge, both games on it. I think the size of the cartridge is just to like be impressive, though. I'm pretty sure the chip inside is the same size, although I don't really know, but I think so. What else we got here? What are you showing us, Jim? I don't know. I guess we're done with that. Get the hell out of here, Sudagaya. We're in Game Camp, taking a look at some of their box Famicom games. The first Famicom Jump, I guess to celebrate the 20th anniversary. So yeah, 20th anniversary of Jump Comics. They made this game where in the first one you're actually a kid who gets sucked into the Jump Comics world, and then you interact with all the various characters from Fist of the North Star, Dragon Ball, other various things. So if you were like a Jump fan back in the day, if you were a kid, that would have just been like the ultimate game. Image Fight on the Famicom by Irem. Not a bad version of the game, I'll say. Kind of slow and not terribly like a lot of enemies on screen at any one time. It's pretty limited, you know. It's Famicom, and it doesn't hold a candle to say the PC Engine version, obviously. But I would say for the price you pay on it, yeah, it's not too bad. Here we've got a complete copy. It's 2,000 some odd yen, so it's under 20 bucks, so that's okay. Ultima. Famicom Ultima. I didn't know before I started like collecting and game hunting that there were Famicom versions of the Ultima games. I believe this one being Ultima 4, Quest of the Avatar. Thank you, Lord British, for that cameo. We got Lord British, everybody. So that's pretty cool. Like Ultima and Wizardry, those were like really important series for, you know, kind of getting RPGs off the ground in Japan. Creating some buzz for them. Another copy of Goonies. Pretty cool. Classic Konami. And it's 3,000 yen. So that ain't too terribly much. And we got ourselves some good old-fashioned Gradius. Still 31.80. Puts it right around 20 bucks. And that ain't bad. And I'm a broken record because I've said a million times. I really like Gradius. I like the Famicom NES version. I like the PC Engine version better. Obviously, it's a great rub. But if it says Gradius, I'm pretty much guaranteed to love it. It's maybe my favorite series of shooters ever. They're just fun, unique, great graphics and sound. Juvie Quest? Movie Quest? I don't know, whatever the hell. Something by Namco. Is it Jubei Quest? He kind of looks like Jubei, right? With his eye patch and everything. I don't know. Not familiar with that one. But there it is nonetheless. Another copy of Dragon Ball. Not a great game, but, you know, hey, there it is. If you were a Dragon Ball fan back in the day, which I was, you probably would have played it regardless. Dragon Quest 3. And these things are super common, but they're still kind of going up in price a bit. It always amazes me how back in the day a new Dragon Quest game would come out, and it was almost like a natural disaster or something. You have to shut everything down. Everybody's like, no work, no school. I think they like coordinated it to like release it on like a holiday weekend or something, just so they wouldn't like destroy the economy of Japan. Those games were just like so huge. It's hard to imagine. People were lining up like you would imagine, like when people lined up for the release of like the PS2 back in the day. That's how every Dragon Quest game was. Some Neketsu Kakuto Densetsu. Which I think was like planned to be released on the NES back in the day, but they canceled it along with I think a couple of other of the Kunio games because there were a lot of them. But it's a fun little 2-on-2 fighting game. You know, it's Kunio, so it's kind of wacky and there are obstacles and weapons and stuff. Rockman 5, Blues No Wana? The Secret of Blues or Blues' Trap or whatever it's called. I really like Rockman 5, Mega Man 5. It's my favorite in the series. Just something about the combination, the gameplay, the graphics and sound. It just does it for me. It clicks. I like them all, obviously. But 5 tends to be my favorite. Even though I think 2 and 3, and, you know, rightfully so, are regarded as, like, you know, the best, the greatest. That's usually the debate. Speaking of, we got Rockman 3 here. For like, what is that, $37.80? That's not so bad. That should be just under $30 for a complete copy. Rockman 3, amazing. Rockman 2, I mean, they're all, any 8-bit Rockman game is going to be great. But yeah, usually, like, the ones I played as a kid were 2 and 3 with my older brother and loved them, even though I was only like 6 years old, so I would just get a red-ass beat down anytime I tried to play them. But I was always happy to just be playing any video games, really. But as an adult, after I've played them all, 5 was the one I settled on. That's my fave. What else do we have going on here? As you can see, they got quite a few of these box games. You've been seeing some of them have new batteries in them. They replaced the batteries, which is very nice, especially for these RPGs. You want to be able to save your game. You're going to need a battery in there. But there's Fire Emblem. There's some Final Fantasy 4180. And those boxes are just beautiful, aren't they? That's just like pure white. So Final Fantasy 2 and 3. Those will all look really nice on a shelf together, as you can see here. But yeah, that's like an epic amount of games we just took a look at. There's so much Famicom stuff and so little time. So thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.